All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. Welcome to today's Alert Central overview and roadmap presentation. Before I hand you off to our presenter today, just a couple of things I need to go over. First, if you have questions along the way, and we always hope that you do, we do these because we want your feedback and your questions. Please use the questions box along the right side of your screen, right under the GoToWebinar control panel to ask those. If for some reason we can't answer everything, either something's a little more complicated that we need to research, or if we run out of time, I'll make sure that Matthias and the rest of his team get everything that they need to follow up with you afterwards. Secondly, we are recording today's session, and that's why you're all muted. And the replay will be available out in the Ops MVS community probably sometime later today, but worst case tomorrow. So if you have colleagues you want to share it with, please feel free to point them out to the community replay. And the last thing from me is that we're always trying to make sure these sessions are valuable. So with that in mind, I pulled together a quick survey that will pop up at the end of the webcast. If you can stick around and give us a little bit of feedback, I know we would really appreciate it. That's it for me. Take it away, sir.
All right. Hello, everybody. For the ones who don't know me, my name is Matheus Milani. I'm based in Brazil, and I'm here at Broadcom for around 1 year. And now I have the role as our automation product manager. I'll talk a little bit more about it. I have around 16 to 17 years experience with mainframe, really love mainframe, really love automation. I used to be operator in the past, automation SME, architect, and all of that. And now I have the pleasure to be the product manager for our automation portfolio. So thanks for joining, for staying with me in this next hour. If you have any question, feel free to post on the question box. I'll be glad to answer them in the same moment, so we don't need to wait till the end. All right, so getting started, before talking about Alert Central itself, I just want to set the stage here and talk a little bit about automation solution. So Ops MVS nowadays is part of our AI Ops value stream. And inside our value stream, we have one solution area called automation. So inside this automation area, we are talking about Ops MVS as a product and different other products and components. So everything that you see here on the screen, I'm the product manager. So if you need any help, if you need any information regarding to roadmap, please count on me. Reach out to me directly on email, call me, or the way that you prefer, but I'm here to offer the help that you need. But the most important here, we know that Ops MVS has been around for quite a while, and we want as Broadcom to keep expanding our solutions. So that's why, as part of Ops MVS, we are calling ourselves our automation solution, which is a combination of all those components that you see on the screen. So Ops MVS is our main product. Under Ops MVS, we have mainframe topology, we have console manager, we have automation point, which is also a prereq for the console manager, and we have Alert Central, which is today's topic. So just want to share this picture with you, because if you are licensed to Ops MVS today, you are entitled to all of these. That can bring extra automation value to your environment and make sure that we can together succeed on your business. With that said, now, let's talk about Alert Central, and I want to start the conversation talking a little bit about our problem and statement and the persona that we are looking at. So specifically when we talk about Alert Central, we are looking into the level 1 operators. When we say level 1 operators are our main persona, it's because we know that our operators, they are the eyes of our environment. So they are really looking into their screens, getting alerts, engaging people, opening incidents, doing problem escalation, doing troubleshooting, looking into documentation, issuing commands on the environment. That's a lot to do from an operator perspective. When we talk about all those different activities that an operator needs to perform, we know that those actions can be taken in one single place, or they can take in multiple places. multiple products, multiple tools, different user IDs, different passwords. So they needed to switch from screen to screen, product to product to get the data that they need. So we know that this is common across many customers that we have talked to when we were doing all the discovery work around Alert Central. And now, looking into this problem, we want to make sure that when we talk about Alert Central, we talk not only about getting alerts in one centralized place, but also getting data around the alert, making sure that we can do some data gathering, present information into the operations screen so they have quick access to troubleshoot to problems, quickly identify who is the resolver that needs to be engaged, and of course, in the end of the day, it will all help to reduce the mean time to resolve. So that's the main purpose when we are talking about Alert Central. Now, moving a little bit further, just talking in more details about Alert Central. Alert Central was released in November the 1st last year. So we have pretty much 3 months, 4 months from our GA. So when we talk about Alert Central, we are talking about a journey. And we want to call that our alert management journey. We know this is the initial versioning for Alert Central. However, we have a very solid roadmap. And when I look into Alert Central and all the discussions that I'm having with customers, probably already with some of you, I like to say that Alert Central can be split in 3 main pillars. First one really focus on centralized view of alerts, and that includes getting historical information around alerts, integration with ITSM tools to open auto ticketing, access to documentation, quick access to logs, and all of that, all around getting one alert and being able to find data to troubleshoot it. Then the second piece, which we are calling contextual insights. So when we talk about contextual insights, we are talking about different other products that can bring data into Alert Central, and that in context data will help operations to troubleshoot into problems. That might include data that will come from SysView, data coming from Vantage, Netmaster, Topology, or any other product. So it's really around, okay, tell me what SysView metric is telling me around that job that has abandoned. A very simple example like that. And also looking forward to alert clustering, because one of the things like we like to have an alert management tool, but we don't like to have a lot of alerts. So one of the main missions is really to reduce the number of alerts that we receive. Make sure that we can cluster them, or even find permanent fixes or find automation that we can do to reduce the number of alerts being received. And that connects with the last pillar, which is around recovery. And when we talk about recovery, we are talking about not only find ways that we can automate specific messages or working on self-healing capabilities and all of that, but also how can we bring best practice to our environment? How can we do continuous improvement, like getting reports from Alert Central and telling me, show me what are the top 10 alerts that I'm receiving on my environment, so I can like every 6 months take a look into that and see what are the opportunities that I have to improve my environment, and of course leverage automation. As I mentioned, so we are GA since end of last year, so we don't have all of those capabilities available on our current release. However, some of them they are already in development, some others they are being researched, and some others they are on our roadmap ready to be picked up. And before doing that, we are doing a lot of customer validation. We are doing a lot of discovery to make sure that if the direction we are going, it's the same direction that you would like to go with your shop. Now, moving a little bit further, before getting into the details on the screens and how Alert Central works, and I want to have some time so I can do a live demo to you. I want to talk about the architecture. I may not go deep as our architects would do, but in a overall way, I want to talk about the main components that we have as part of this architecture. So if you look into the bottom of the screen, we have Alert Central. So Alert Central nowadays is hosted off platform. So in this current release, we have Alert Central running on a Linux x86. However, as we speak, we are also analyzing the possibility on hosting Alert Central in other platforms such as ZLinux or ZCX. So that's the piece where you have the front end, you have your web interface that the operators will use to monitor the environment. Second piece that we have, it's the Zoe API mediation layer. I'm not sure how much you are familiar with the Zoe, but Zoe has one component called API ML for short, the API mediation layer. And specifically for Alert Central, we are using the API ML to make sure that we can do authorization, authentication, and we can control the product APIs. So every time that we have a different product sending alerts in, it will be done through the API mediation layer. This is a Broadcom distribution of the API ML. So we know that around Zoe, we have open source, but in this case, if you have any problems with the API ML, you can go there and open cases. Our team will help you if you encounter any problem on using it. Plus, this is the only piece from Zoe that is required for Alert Central. So you don't need the Zoe framework, the desktop, or the CLI or Brightside. It's API ML only. Depending on the way that you are configured, you may require just one API ML for your product. Okay, and then we have a third component. That component is called Alert Central Connector, ACC for short. So ACC is a starter task. That starter task must run in all the LPARs that you would like to send alerts in. So in this case, if you have 10 LPARs, you will require Alert Central Connector to run on all the 10 LPARs on your environment, because we are using Alert Central Connector as a way that we can standardize the alerts going in. So we have the alert schema, we have all the fields required for you to send data in. And in the future, we also want to make sure that we can probably use Alert Central Connector as a bidirectional communication. As for now, in our current release, Alert Central Connector already has integration with the 3 Broadcom products, Ops MVS 14.0, Sysview 16.0, and Netmaster 12.2. So all those products, they had PTFs released to allow the integration with ACC. However, our monitoring capability and our alert management is not limited to that. So we are able to allow you to send alerts from other Broadcom products or non-Broadcom products in. So we recently released one utility called CAAC Send. This is an interface that can help you to get any product or, for example, Ops MVS lower versions to send alerts inside Alert Central as well. So that's one way that you don't need to code your own script to make sure that you can call the APIs from Alert Central. However, if you want to, the Alert APIs are there, so you can develop your own Rex script or whatever that would call the APIs from Alert Central, and you can send alerts in. So it's really to make sure that we can be flexible enough for you to send alerts from whatever product that you have on your environment. And the same applies for other products or components that are sitting off platform, such as Automation Point, MOI, and other products. So you can also call the API, the alert APIs from Alert Central, and also send alerts in. One additional component that we have, which is optional, it's the NIMSM. NIMSM, it's already available as part of Ops MVS, and we are using that on Alert Central as well to make sure that you can integrate with ITSM tools. As you can see on the right side of the screen, we have different ITSM tools there. We have ServiceNow, we have HP Service Manager, Remedy, CA Service Desk, and etc. So that would be able for you from Alert Central to allow that you can open auto tickets into the environment. Okay. All right. So now moving forward, before we jump into the demo, let me talk about some of the features that are already available into Alert Central 1.0 right now. I'm separating this session in two pieces. One, features that are available for your usability, for operators that would be using the product on a daily basis and the things that they can do with Alert Central. And the second one would be focused on the administration piece, where the Ops MVS person or whoever is going to administrate Alert Central in your environment, they are able to take some actions to configure the environment and maintain it, and etc. So starting with the usability piece, one of the key capabilities that we have, it's the alerts view. Alerts view, it's really where you can centralize all your alerts and receive them on your screen. There's a couple of options that you can take that you can use there. You have quick action buttons, you have different parameters, you have columns that you can customize. And I'm gonna show a little bit more on the demo for you, but it's really where you're gonna get the live feed from the alerts arrive on your environment. And then when you want to get the details around one alert, that's the second part of this usability piece, which is called the alert details. The alert details has main two things right now, three, I would say. First one, it's really information around the alert. So you can take quick action. So I want to change the severity, changing the group of alert, assign it to someone, close an alert, and etc. And you can also have some notes section where you can keep track on what you are working. So for example, if you are you have you and your buddy on your operation side working, you needed to take a break, and someone is taking care of the alerts that you were taking care. So you can keep historical information about the actions that you took. So he or she will be able to take a look into that information and continue working on the alert from there. And then one of the most important things around informations on alerts, it's what we call the related alerts. The related alerts, it's a way that we can get historical insights around one alert. I will save this conversation for the demo so I can drill down a little bit. But in few words, this is how you can look into the past to identify if you have similar alerts happening and what happened with them. And also in the moment that you are looking to this alert, what other alerts are around this one, or they are very similar to the one that you are looking to the screen. So this is an interesting way for you not only to monitor the environment, but to find opportunities for improvement. Then moving forward, now talking a little bit about the administration capabilities of the product. There's a couple of things that we are doing right now. So first, you can do all the user ID and admin management from Alert Central. So since we are using the Zoe API mediation layer today, we allow you to log on into Alert Central using your mainframe credentials. However, you need to give the person access into the user setup tab in the settings of Alert Central, and make sure that you assign a role to that person, if it's gonna be a standard user or an administrator or a supervisor, and etc. You can also have different groups. So you can define one group for operations, one group for CICS, DB2. If you have multiple operators working on different parts of the world and you want to have different alert groups for them, you can create as well. So every time that one alert is created, automatically a group is assigned to them. So there are a couple of ways that you can do that. but pretty much every single alert that will appear on the alerts view, it will already have a group assigned to. And then also we have the ability to control all the LPARs that you want to receive alerts from. So this is another way that you can see what are the LPARs from your environment that are configured to send alerts into Alert Central. Another capability that we have is called routing rules. Routing rules is a way that you can centralize your rule management into one single place. One thing that I always like to talk about is just because we have routing rules, it doesn't mean that you need to change the rules that you have in your ops MVS to move them to Alert Central. The routing rules was created to make sure that you can have an easy and quick way to create rules to handle what severity needs to be addressed for that alert, what groups needs to be assigned if you wanted to cut a ticket, and etc. So all from your Alert Central UI. Because remember, we have integrations with different products nowadays, like SysView, Ops, NetMaster, and etc. And we will keep increasing those integrations. So if I have one alert coming from NetMaster and one alert coming from SysView, instead of sending those alerts to Ops and Ops send the alert to Alert Central, you can ask SysView or NetMaster to send them directly. So in order to define severity, define the grouping, you can use the routing rules to make sure that you can do that. However, if you also want to send the data along, so along with your ops rule, you want to send the data, not only message ID message, but you also want to send the severity, the grouping, and the auto ticketing information. So you can do that as well. So it will bypass any kind of configuration that already exists into the routing rule. So different ways that you can work with that, and I'll show a little bit more during the demo.
Mateus, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We do have our first question.
Sure.
So it says, so with Alert Manager, you can have ops detect system issues and forward it to ITSM tools to document and get the issue number returned back to the console display for operations. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so let's move forward here. Okay, so it's time for to do a live demo. So I want to spend some time on this demo here just to show a little bit of the navigation of Alert Central, and then we can go back and talk about some items that we have on the roadmap. So let me just change my screen here. Probably you can see my Chrome browser here with my alerts view in front of you. Okay, so all right. So before talking about features and capabilities, this is the new UI for our Broadcom product. So we call this the mainframe signature experience. As you can notice, one of the capabilities that we are introducing as part of this new UI layout is the dark mode. So you can use the dark mode on your environment if you prefer. It's a user setup. So you can also go here into the bottom of the screen. You can change your dark mode to light mode, and you can go back. It persists next time that you log on into the environment. But it's really cool stuff that we added here as part of enhancements on our web UIs. This is the first screen when you log on. You have a way to send you to someplace else, but by default, this is where you get after you log on into Alert Central. Before getting to the details, we have this vertical menu here with a couple of options. We have the alerts where we are. We have topology. So you saw in the beginning of the presentation, the mainframe topology is one of our components as well as part of the automation solution and also as part of Ops MVS. So here, since Topology and Alert Central are able to use the API ML, so we are providing a single sign-on pass-through. So if you are able to use Topology integrated with Alert Central, you can jump to Topology without needing to log on again. And we have this settings option where the Alert Central administrator would take some actions into the environment. So talking about a little bit on the alerts view, this is the place where all the alerts will be received. So as you can see, we have some basic information around those alerts, such as date, time, the system, resources, message ID, message text, the severity that you can assign for each of the alerts, the status in that moment, the group that was assigned, the owner in case you want to assign it to a specific person. This is a counter column. In the counter column, you are able to control duplicated alerts. So there is a piece inside the settings that you can define the duplication criteria. So you can say that, okay, for me, a duplicated alert is an alert with the same message ID, same system, and same resource. You have other options as well, but this is what will determine what is duplicated. So every time that there is one alert opened and multiple alerts exactly the same, matching that criteria, it will not create a new instance or new alerts, but it will increment the counter. But if you look into the notes section, you see that every single hit of a new alert coming, it will be registered in there. Also here, as already part of the question that was made, we have the information regarding to the ticket that was created. In this specific case here, we have an integration with ServiceNow. So we ask it to open an incident into ServiceNow and then send the incident number back. It's a hyperlink. If you click it, it will take you to ServiceNow to take a look at. This is really important, and we added this capability because we know that time to time there is a lot of going on in the automation in the background. So some alerts might be happening, but incidents are being created. So we want to make sure that the operations know that there is a new alert, but also there is an incident created. So it really is make sure that he is up to speed on everything that is happening to the environment. Plus, we have here, if we are able to identify the source of that alert, so we are able to add as a column here. However, it's not the only columns that we have. We have different others here, so you can hide some columns, you can show some of them. So I can hide status, it will update on the background. I can edit better. I can change the sequence of those columns. So if I change resource with systems, it will update in there. In everything that I'm doing here in the position of the columns and the way that I want to prefer, it's a user setup. It's also server persistent. So if I log off and log on again, then I'm gonna be able to keep the same change that I did the last time that I use it. So it's the way that you can personalize your monitoring screen the way that you prefer. Here we have a tab for open alerts, a tab for closed alerts. They are exactly the same except for the status of the alert. We allow you also to select multiple alerts and take actions on them. Like, okay, all those are alerts, I want to change them to critical. I want to assign an owner to them. So, okay, so let's assign, let me see, alerts from the same group here. So those two are from the same group. So, okay, let's assign it to myself. So then they can be assigned to me. And all those actions here can be taken from this screen. So it's a way that if you know what you needed to do, you can also create ticket and close alert and etc. However, if you want to get into the details of one particular alert, you can click on it. Before going there, I forgot to mention, so we have search options and we have filter options here that you can use on those columns as well. So let's say that you only care about critical alerts. So you can also go to the severity piece, you can select critical, that will update the screen and you're gonna be able to see only critical alerts as well. So it really depends on what you would like to see. So here, if I want to get into the details of one particular alert, I can click in here. So it will open the second screen. So this is the alerts view that I was talking about. Here on the top, I have show alerts details. So this is more information around the alert. Some of the information here, they are the same that you can see on the initial screen, but you can also take actions. So you can change the severity of that alert. You can change the group, you can assign it to somebody else, you can close the alert, so a couple of options. We also have the show notes. The show notes is where you can keep track on the actions that you are working here. So in this case, if I want to post a message, okay, Mateus is already working on it. So it will add this message here. So any person that will get into the details of the alert, they will know that I'm working on it. So it's a way that we can create this collaboration environment when we are talking about handling alerts on the environment. Plus, if you unhide this option here, you can also see some of audit trail and actions that you took. So let's say, okay, I want to take a look at who changed that severity from minor to critical. So you're going to have the information here, who assigned it to a particular group, who closed that alert. So it will all recorded here, so you can take a look later in case you needed to get more information about it. And also, one of the most important items that we have on this screen, it's called related alerts. So related alerts is really when you are looking to the past, as I mentioned, and finding information around that alert. So let me open this panel here again. Okay, so I have a different time in the past that I can take a look. So I can look for 1 hour, 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, or the entire alert database that you have. In many cases here, so you will see that you can see alerts that are opened or alerts that are already closed. It doesn't matter. And you can use those matching criteria here to take a look into more information. So give you one example here, exact match. Exact match, it's a way that you can see that if that same alert, and when I mean same alert, it is the same alert with the same message ID, same resource, same system. And I just need to confirm if the same message text, but I think so. But those three ones, I'm pretty sure. And you can take a look on that. How can you use this? So it's not only about looking into the past and say, okay, I had 100 alerts in the 7 days for this particular event. But you can also use this to continuous improvement. So why I'm getting 100 alerts in the last 7 days for the same problem? Do I need to engage the resolver group and make sure that we do a permanent fix? Is there an opportunity for an automation here? So it's really triggering some discussion to make sure that you can look. It's not the same example for every single alert, but it's a way that you can use for that difference. Or you can just look into the alert and see what happened with that alert in the past. And we have some other ways to filter this information. We have what we call partial matches. Partial matches, it's when you match only one parameter from that alert. In this case here, I'm looking into an IF 450i message, a band message here. And I see that in the last 7 days, I have more than 2,000 messages received. They can be open, they could be closed, it doesn't matter. You see, we have a lot of open here because we don't keep closing all the alerts all the time. But in this case, it doesn't matter what is the resource or what is the system. If the message is IF 450i, you can see it. I'll give you another example here. So let's talk about CICS, for example. In the CICS environment, so let's say that you get a specific message or a specific alert for a CICS region, and you look here into the message ID criteria and you see 10 more messages, and they are the same message coming from 10 different regions. It might help you to identify that you have a larger problem on your environment. It's not one single region. The same applies for the second filter, which is called resources. In the resource, you may have one alert for this specific CICS region, but I may have other alerts with other message IDs happening for the same resource. Again, you can say that, okay, I have this standalone alert in front of me. I'm engaging the CICS person, but I can tell them there is other 10 alerts open right now for this specific region here, or I can even see that the same alert happened in the past. So you can use it different ways. You can even see that, oh, maybe the alert that I'm looking at, it's not the primary problem, it can be a secondary problem. And the same kind of criteria applies for system and for sysplex, but it's more wide than specific when we talk about message ID and resources. So this is what I want to show you in the alerts piece, and how you can handle all the alerts, do handover of problems, escalation, and all of that. Just keep in mind that related alerts is not the only tab that we will have here. So as part of the roadmap, we have other capabilities that we are creating that will bring additional information into the alert details page. As we speak, we are working with integration with ops log to get data from the ops log, contextual insights to get information about other products, in context topology information. So we will keep adding new tabs here so the operator can get data from different parts of the environment to supporting the problem troubleshooting. Okay, so let me go back now, and I want to spend a little bit time talking about the administration. The settings from alerts.
Before you go forward, we do have a
Of
few
course.
questions about what you just showed.
Okay.
So let me go. The first question, I think you already answered this, but we'll bring it up again. Is this being licensed along with Ops MVS?
Yes, it is.
All right. Second one, can several clients be connected into this? So alerts from different data centers are viewed from a unique alert central.
We haven't tested from multiple customers yet, but this is an item that the team is investigating right now. So I don't have a confirmation yet that we can do for multiple alerts because of different customers. They may have different security products like RACF, ACF2, Top Secret, different user IDs and all of that. So as we speak, we are working on this item to do all the testing to make sure that we officially publish that we can support multi-customer monitoring from one single Alert Central instance as well.
Thank you. And the last one is, does each tab have its own display options? So for alerts tab, set certain column settings, and for close tab, set different column settings.
Okay, so let me go back there. You can define it the ones that you prefer. So here in this case, if you look into the closed alerts, I don't keep the source here. So if I click here, I'm not looking to counter duplicated nodes or ticket ID, but I can do. So whatever customization that you do on the closed alerts, it will be for the closed alerts, and whatever customization that you do for the open alerts tab, it will be only for the open alerts tab.
Thank you, sir. That's the last question.
All right, thanks for all the questions, guys. Okay, so jumping into the settings here. So the visualization that I have here, it's from an Alert Central administrator. So let me dive into some specific ones. So starting with the integrations. Integration is pretty much a way that you can control on the left side here, who is authorized to send alerts in. So we talked about Alert Central Connector, ACC. So ACC is one way that you can send alerts in from many different products. So Alert Central Connector will require a user ID, and this user ID it's defined here to authorize ACC to send alerts in. But if you have other products that are using their own integration with Alert Central, you will need to authorize the ID from those systems also here in this tab. And here on the right side, we have the configuration for the NIM-SM, where you can customize the integration with the auto ticketing. Now we have the system tab. The system tab, it's where you can see all the systems that, or all the LPARs that were configured into Alert Central to receive, to send alerts in. As you can see in the first column here, so the release that you are looking right now, it's a release that it's on our development environment. So we are already showing one of the new capabilities that will be released on the upcoming PTFs, which is the ability to auto-discover system. So, or you can define LPARs here manually, or you can let Alert Central to discover that system on your environment as soon as the Alert Central connector is started on the ZOS LPAR. So that's one way. And you can also use here some information to specify the way that you would like to see your system name. We have user setup. User setup, it's a way that you can assign roles. So if you add a user, you're gonna add the first name, last name, mainframe user ID, and the role, administrator, supervisor, or user. Also, as we speak, we are working in import and export capabilities to load users or export data from this table. In the global preferences, you have a couple of information. So even if that you give people the flexibility to show and hide some columns from a global configuration that will be assigned to everybody, you can enforce some columns that can never be hidden. So like message ID, resource, or things like this. So as an administrator, you can define that pattern for your environment. Custom columns. So custom columns, it's really to fit the need for some customers that they like to send more information along with the alerts. I'll give you an example. We are already preparing these custom columns for global service providers that would like to monitor multiple customers from one alert central. So you can create one column here called customer, and then we are going to be able to send along with the alert the customer name, and you're going to be able to use that information there. Or you can send application information. So I know that every time that the CICS region alerts, it might be related to a problem to my stock plan application or something like this. So you can send the data in. We have the criteria for the duplicated alert. So this is the information that you can select, all the criteria to define your rule for duplication. We have ways to block operators or users to change the severity of an alert. And here you give it or not, you don't give the option to allow operators to reopen closed alerts. User preferences, they are very simple. It's like, where do you want to go when you log on, data format, number of alerts per screen, and a couple of more configuration around the way that you would like to see the nodes. Alert grouping is where you're going to be able to define your different groups into Alert Central. So as you can see, we have a couple of examples here. So for example, CICS group, I have the group CICS. This is the description. I'm the group manager. I have a couple of guys here as the group members. And I know that this particular group can receive alerts and modify alerts from any of the LPARs of my environment. And I can also see alerts from all the LPARs. This last piece is important here for the related alerts. So when you are there looking to historical information, if you select all, means that the related alerts historical information will show all alerts from all the groups and all the systems. If you want to narrow down this to just a couple of systems, you are able to do that from here as well. And finally, we have the routing rules. Routing rules, it's the capability that I mentioned where we can here define some rules to handle the alerts coming from the different products. A couple of examples here, I'll use this one. So from whatever system, all IEF 450i messages coming from a resource called PR something goes to operations team as critical, and also create a ticket into ServiceNow in the Snow app team queue as well. So right now, this is a way that you can use to control those rules. Keep in mind that if you are sending that data already from the ZOS through the Alert Central connector, the data come from the ZOS will have the higher priority. So you are only using the criteria from this table when any of those informations are not coming along with the alert from the ZOS. And here you have the alert simulator. The alert simulator is a way that you can put some rules here and check if it's already a rule created. So you get a request from the CI/CS team and they say, create a rule for all my DFH messages from and send as critical. So let me validate if there is already a rule created. So I can specify here and it will simulate, okay, I already have a rule. So every single DFH message goes to group one as minor and it doesn't create a ticket. So it avoids me to creating any kind of duplicated rule. We have controls to avoid duplicated rules, but anyway, it's where you can validate if such criteria is already matching any of the rules that were created, because we know that this list here can get really long. So this is what I want to show you into the demo, and this is Alert Central live for you. Now I want to go back to the presentation to talk about some of the roadmap on those last minutes of the meeting. But before I do that, Len, is there any other questions related to the demo?
Yeah, we do have one question that came in is, where is Alert Central user information stored?
So this information is stored in the Alert Central database. It's a Postgres database that runs on the Linux server where the Alert Central is hosted.
That's it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So let me just move back to the presentation. Okay. All right. Roadmap. I think that we already talked about some of those items. So one of the things that we are working right now that will be coming very soon into Alert Central, it's the System Auto Discover. We already talked about that. The ability that every time ACC, during the initialization of Alert Central connector, making sure to send data to Alert Central to say that there is this new system up, so you can auto add the system into the system list. So that's a new capability that we are adding, because we thought customers, they may have, I don't know, more than 20, 30, 100 LPARs on the environment. It might be very time consuming to define all of them. So it's a way that you can do that automatically. Also, ops log integration. As we speak, the ops MVS team is also working on the ops log viewer, which is the ability to see ops log from MTCA. Along with this work, there is the work of the OpsLog API. So with the OpsLog API, we are able to do this capability here, which we are looking into ways that we can bring OpsLog messaging information around that alert. A couple of messages before, a couple of messages after. So if the operator wants to take a look what happened before that alert and after, they will be able to see from Alert Central. So this is something that we are doing right now. This work will be split in 3 phases. We are doing the phase 1 right now, and through the year in the roadmap, we are going to tackle the other 2 phases. So this is our MVP on the integration that will be available very soon. Import and export, I think I mentioned about this. So in the system settings, there are multiple tables there, users, groups, routing rules, systems. We want to make sure that we have the ability to export the data to CSV and even being able to import data for any kind of bulk work that you want to do. Those are the short-term items on the roadmap that I have mock-ups and wireframes to show to you. However, we have much more. So if you look here in the top part of this roadmap, what is in development right now, besides the ops log integration, the system discovery, and the import export, we have reopen alerts, as you could see, the ability to reopen closed alerts. We have alert expiration. Alert expiration will allow you to define expiry time for some specific alerts. So as an example, let's say that you have an informative message that needs to be alerted to the operator in the middle of the night. The batch has been completed, the CICS is open and running, things like this. You can set up some time that the message will be auto-closed. So it stays for 1 minute, 2 minutes, so you can define that. Custom columns we already talked about, and the import export. What do we have under research right now? Contextual insights. Contextual insights to make sure that we can get data from other products, to make sure that we can bring them in context into Alert Central to help operators to troubleshoot into problems. Getting data from SysView, getting data from Netmaster, Vantage, and etc. So we are researching this item right now. In context topology, to make sure that every time that you get an alert, the resource that is alerting the STC, for example, it will show the topology and all the other STCs that are connected to that particular resource, not from a shutdown and startup perspective, but from an application view. Something like topology looks into SMF data to discover connections. So we are going to rely on those connections to show the connections between STCs. An example, if I have one transaction that belongs to CICS A that calls another transaction that it's on CICS B and calls another DB2 package, it's in DB2A, I'm going to be able to see the connections between the STCs. CICS A connected to B, connected to the DB2A, and not the one down as the transactions calling the program. So it's really STC level. AC hosting, we talked about the ability to run Alert Center in other platforms like ZLinux and ZCX. Integration with QuickRef. QuickRef has APIs right now, so we want to make sure that we can retrieve information from there based on some specific alerts. Runbook integration. We have been talking to many customers that the operators procedures are hosted in different places, SharePoint, box folders, ServiceNow knowledge base, and other places. We want to make sure that the operators will have at least the link to that documentation from Alert Central as an initial process. Integration with AP. This is an item that is in research/development. So I kept that in research. But it's really to make sure that you can get alerts from AP and sent to Alert Central. And finally, discovery items. Discovery items are items that myself as PM, our architecture team, our UX team, we are meeting with customers and we are running those ideas with you, getting your feedback, and we check if it's worth it investing on those items. What is the priority between those items and what you'd like to see there. So really get your validation before we put our hands into the keyboard. So we are talking about integration with MOI. We know that MOI has its own alert monitor there. Make sure that we can bring the alerts from MOI into Alert Central. Alert forwarding. Many customers are using other monitoring tools to consolidate alerts, not only from the mainframe, but also from other platforms. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to create some kind of integration, because even if those alerts, those tools, they will be able to consolidate alerts, they may not have the granular information from the mainframe as we have into the Alert Central, because we are very close to the source. So that's one of the use cases that we are looking right now. Reporting, because we have a lot of tables into Alert Central, and we have a lot of alerts. So how can we use that data to our own benefit? So how can we look into alerts in the past and identify opportunities to do improvement, create automation, permanent fixes, reporting on number of alerts, and all of that. So I think sky is the limit when we talk about reporting. So we want to make sure that we bring some kind of customization for you on that. And for last, alert clustering, I think we talked very briefly about it, making sure that we not only get individual alerts, but we have this ability to cluster them together and make sure that we have a combination of multiple alerts that are related to the same problem. So that's the final part of my presentation. I know that we have a couple of more minutes here before we wrap it up. So thank you everybody for your participation today. But before we go, Len, do we have any other question there that we want to tackle before we end?
I don't see any questions here, folks, so we do have a couple minutes, so go ahead and type anything. And I will also take this opportunity to remind you that we do have our post-event survey that'll pop up when I close the session. We would love some feedback on today's webcast. But if we don't see anything coming in, which I don't, I guess we can go ahead and wrap. Mateus, thank you very much. This is really exciting stuff. And to everyone who joined us, we really appreciate you giving us some time today. We know there's a lot of virtual events happening, so we appreciate you carving out some time for ours today. Have a great day and rest of the week, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.